opposing team. The purpose of the government is to enable the people of a nation to live in safety and happiness. Governments exist for the interests of the governed, not the governors. Thomas Jefferson. It is because I, Trey Harris, agree with Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, in the position that the government of a nation has no business getting involved in private and corporate affairs that I feel compelled to negate today's resolution. The resolution states that a government has an obligation to lessen the economic gap between its rich and poor citizens. For clarification of today's round, I offer the following definitions. I agree with all of the opponent's definitions, but I would like to add one. Capitalism. It is an economic system characterized by private or corporate ownership of capital goods, by investments that are determined by private decisions, and by prices, production, and the distribution of goods that are determined mainly by the competition in a free market. That definition was provided by Merriam-Webster. The highest value within today's round is freedom. Freedom is defined as the absence of necessity, coercion, or constraint in choice or action. Source, Merriam-Webster. Freedom is most important in today's round because as soon as any government gets involved in the market, there are people losing and or gaining money that would not have occurred if the government stayed out of it. The best criterion for evaluating this resolution is capitalism. It best achieves my value of freedom because it allows everybody in the market to make decisions based off of their needs and wants. In a pure capitalistic market, the government does not get involved. In negating the resolution, I offer the following contentions. Contention 1. What is the economic gap? There's no such thing. Yes, there are those who get rich from luck and or hard work, and there are those who are poor from being unlucky and or lazy. But there are also those in the middle, and a vast majority of people in every country are in the middle. Quote, fair is not equal. It would be unfair for you to get paid the same amount of money to play guitar that Brad Paisley gets paid. It would be unfair for you to get paid the same amount of money to play golf that Tiger Woods gets paid, because they're better at it than you. Dave Ramsey. All the, quote, economic gap is a way to weaponize the fact that the rich people make money faster than poor people do. People try to weaponize it to force countries to move to a more socialistic approach to markets. Contention 2. If the economic gap was a problem, what are the solutions? Redistribution of wealth? A national minimum wage? No, those are elements that make a country socialist. Quote, socialism is the big lie of the 20th century. While it promised prosperity, equality, and security, it delivered poverty, misery, and tyranny. Equality was achieved only in the sense that everyone was equal in his or her misery. Mark J. Perry. The government intervening into a country's market never has a positive effect and always has devastating consequences. Contention 3. The government of a country needs to stay out of the private business matters. A government has one job, and that is to protect its people. Quote, the chief purpose of the government is to protect life. Thomas Jefferson. Once the government gets involved, it puts its own citizens at risk. Fee.org posted a graph of the highest mortality rates compared to population due to starvation in the 20th century. 16 out of the 30 countries were socialist countries. Another 10 out of 30 were communist. This shows how dangerous it can be for a country when the government does not let the people decide how they spend their money. I have shown you that the economic gap between the rich and poor is perfectly natural and not a problem. There's no need to try to fix the gap, and when a government does try to get involved, that is considered socialism. And that socialism or government intervention has mortal consequences. For these reasons, we can clearly conclude that freedom should be upheld, and the government does not have an obligation to lessen the economic gap between its rich and poor citizens. I'm ready for cross-examination.